early 2000, you'll see a lot of artists scanned more records than they shipped.
Okay. A lot of artists scan more records than they shit. Okay.
You know what that means?
That means they was double dipping or something, right?
So let's say this. Let's say I have, you see that? Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I give you 5 of those. Mm-hmm. You pay me for 10. How?
Because you scanned it 10 times?
Scanned it more than once. Def Jam was cheating those numbers. Those first 2 numbers were fiction.
Really?
Yeah. So that fake streaming shit doesn't confuse me. They were doing that back then. Like niggas I actually sat there with the salesperson one day and looked at the numbers, right? Because I had artists in the system. I was managing Cameron. They had the diff set. Everybody was in the system. I was reading the numbers, and I was like, shipped 2 million, sold 2.7. Again, it's that 1 + 1 = 4.
Yeah.
In my mind going, how do you sell more than you ship?
Yeah.
Leo tells us he wants 350,000 units the first week. We give him 350,000 units the first week. So again, it was a market share play.
Yep.
To sell Def Jam.
Yeah.
So for my rant today, I'll be piggybacking off of the conversation that Ray Daniels was having. And what I got from it was pretty much there's nothing new under the sun. Whenever there's an opportunity for somebody to take advantage of a situation or manipulate it, especially when finances are a larger part of it, they're usually going to find a way to. It also goes to a conversation I've heard recently as far as streaming numbers. And a lot of us coming to the realization nowadays that the numbers didn't matter as much as we wanted them to matter. It should have always been about the art. And in certain sectors of hip hop and or music, it still is. The young brother was talking to Ray and was pretty much saying that earlier when he was having to do his A&R thing and or manager, whatever title that he was choosing to use, he was already coming across kind of weird discrepancies when it came down to the numbers. Being like, man, how are you selling double than what you bringing in type shit? The question comes to me, is if you were to be able to go back and look through all of the things that the people that were shouting numbers, how many of the older artists would we be able to say truly were doing the things that they felt that they were doing, or did they look like they were doing visibly? Because I believe that Russ was saying it before, when you're trying to pay for these records, the record still has to be able to work. It's not like you're necessarily just taking some bullshit or something that hasn't been tested and trying to run it up the line. This could also lead into the situation or whatever's been going on with the Drake lawsuit. Some people feeling like what he was going to do as far as the big red button was exposing the industry for what it is and letting everybody know what's going on behind the door. When the reality of it is, most of the things have been happening in plain sight, and it's not necessarily a scheme or something that we can hide behind. Anytime that you've heard any discrepancy from somebody, most of the time it's not because of the act that's happening, it's the act that's happening to them. How many artists have you heard complain about their deals to sign an artist? Even in the Jay-Z situation right now, I understand that they were trying to get a casino placed inside of New York or Town Square or something of this nature, something of the sorts. When it comes to business moves, we can't act like this isn't a great business move. This would be something that we've never seen done before, and it would be a notch on the belt. But the question comes sometimes, do you need that notch? knowing what the repercussions of this action could actually bring to the community, or the detriment that it could bring to the community. At the end of the day, we all know any mythos or any lore behind a large company or a large casino or something moving inside of an area, and what it usually does to the area. Now, with me saying that, we have Dover Downs and we have Ocean Downs, if that's the name of it. It might be something else slick now. But I feel like that hits different because we're in such a rural area. The influx of people it doesn't change as much, especially with Ocean City, because it's usually a tourism spot. So if you're getting an influx, it's only hitting during the season. But off season is pretty chill, at least from what I've seen. You know what I mean? The parking lot don't be looking the same compared to a place like New York, where drugs and all of these other things are readily available, and knowing that that comes with that nightlife. You know what I mean? Down here, it really ain't enough nightlife. It's not a night. That's not enough nightlife for it to make it so different. And they can monitor the nightlife pretty good. In a city that's already constantly going, and you're already having a problem monitoring it. It's all that to be said. We know what the move looks like, and we know how good it does for this set of accolades. But then on this other side, you know that there is ramifications for you getting this achievement badge. Running up the numbers is a thing. And you understand that when you're running up the numbers, what it can do from you on this front end, the visibility that it could probably get you, for people to kind of question what you got going on or whatever. But then the detriment of it on the back end is, of course, being exposed for being one of the people that are using this strategy, or the fact that you're not honestly building the fan base that you feel that you really have. So for the right person, what it'll make you do is overextend yourself when you're trying to go to the next step. You're looking at the joint, you like, damn, yo, I'm going crazy over here, and I'm going crazy over there. Then you show up and it's 5 people. Once again, it doesn't matter when it's a label, but if you're on that independent struggle, or the independent move that everybody's saying that they're on right now, that's going to make a big difference in the amount of money that you bringing back. Once again, to go back and say that none of these things are new. All of these things that have been going on as far as with the music industry have been going on from the Temptations all the way to now. Somebody's always going to find that next way to freak something. Which is why I kind of be like, as much as I hate to say it, with the Nicki Minaj situation right now, going at Rock Nation the way that she's going at Rock Nation. I've heard that it's more than her have had problems with Rock Nation, or have had bad words or ill things to say about Rock Nation behind closed doors. So let's say this, because the way I'm looking at it now with the conversation that we're having, if everybody's moving towards independence and saying fuck the streaming shit, because we're already getting hip to what the stream game does. So you got a Lil Russell right now. He's kind of, for me, what the new success looks like for the music industry, as far as moving independently, and not necessarily moving independently like Russ did, but sure enough, I'm building the fan base. I'm going to these places. I'm hitting them, grassroots type shit. If you're hitting off of it on that end, and we know that the streaming thing is kind of bust and niggas ain't really trying to twerk with it, the next move for them to be able to get the industry in on something would be YouTube or controlling shows. because we also know at the end of the day that's where most of our artists are making money at. You gotta do them tours, you gotta hit the road, you gotta do this. And then to find out that if you are a larger artist or even a semi-large artist, most of the time that you're having to go through these venues through Rock Nation. I see where it gets I see where it could get frustrating. And I can see where also just like the Prince situation, I compare this Nicki Minaj situation to the Prince situation. When Prince was first talking that shit, people were kind of like, well, all the money you making, you just sound like a spoiled brat complaining about why I'm not getting more money. And not just looking at the logistics of it. Not looking at the principle of the matter. It's my money, I want it now. You feel me? It's not like I didn't work for it. It's not like I didn't earn it. And then the way that you're getting it off of there, you're not being forthcoming about the way that you freaking me for the money. So for some of us, or for some of the artists to get to a point where though you're at a Nicki Minaj level or you're at this Taylor Swift level, that 10% or something, or that 30% that they was raking you when you were at a lower level, and it just felt like dudes you were playing. That shit turned into millions of dollars. I believe Jay-Z was one of the people that said it when he was doing an interview with Kevin Hart. He said, man, a lot of the time people get weird with looking at the numbers and not really just understanding it or whatever. You get weird with the percentages and not really understanding shit what the percentages are equaling out to in the long run. But I think that's what happens with most artists, is that they do realize what these percentages is looking like. And especially for being the one that's out there putting the work in. So once again, for the whole scheme of this shit is, it's always going to be a move. It's always going to be a freaky move that they could pull when it comes to anything that's going on with the music industry or any other industry that's out here. And it's up for you to determine what side of the madness you're going to stand on. Right and wrong sometimes when it comes to this business world, it's just a matter of what side that you're standing at. I've had to learn that more recently than anything. Perception is a motherfucker. If you got two people standing in the same spot and they're talking to each other, I'm turning them flat. You're looking at the top of them now. Boom. This is their field of sight now. When we remember this time that we're sitting here with each other, with my line of sight, I'm not going to be seeing the same shit that they're seeing going this way. Everything I'm going to remember is from this side. So when I remember this and I'm telling the story, I'm going to be like, man, I remember we were standing outside. It was a sunny day and a bird was flying out of the tree. Because when I was looking this way, it was a tree there. And they're looking this way and there's no tree. There's no problem when we're telling this story and there's no stakes on the line. But most of the time what's happening to us is you're telling the story from your perspective, but it's a story that actually has social ramifications or consequences that lead to financial issues. For the artists that the young fella was talking about, the young man was talking about at the beginning, and saying, I'm looking at their numbers and being like, okay, we got the bundles, and they were doing these deals to get these extra numbers off and inflate them. Are they liable if they weren't aware of what's going on? Because it's just an industry game. Should any of those artists come back and be like, man, you know what? When I ran this audit, I saw that I wasn't as popping as I thought I was. My bad, y'all. It's not the situation. I don't even feel that it's the bottom line to these type of things. But it's more so for me to be like, okay, for some of the unks, for some of us, they get out here and we look at these artists, these younger artists, or you look at your time, which most of us do, you find a way to look at that time and explain how it's so much harder than the time that we're living in. And not understanding, and it's all the same shit. There is a loop because we only think one way. So it's just a matter of time of getting in the position where as though your thoughts are being the ones that are heard. And nowadays, you can see, even with myself, we all had an opportunity. Or the biggest thing I would like for everybody to get from this rant is, it's nothing new under the sun. And either you gonna complain or you gonna play the game. But if you playing the game, don't act like you standing on the outskirts. That's my rant for today.
What? Some days are easier.
Some things shouldn't exist. This shouldn't exist. Diabolical. What is going on? I know, this is dirty, bro. You know when you feel uncomfortable.
I don't want to watch this.